Missed an episode of your favorite podcast? Choose from over a decade of content in our archives, not just the latest episode. All free at gcnlive.com.
Pencils, paper, notebooks, iPads. Class is now in session. USAPrepares.com. Educational radio. Set your memory to high power. Your USAPrepares.com instructor, Vincent Finelli, at the controls.
Well, class, it's storming here in Missouri. You can probably hear the thunder in the background. You'll hear more of it from time to time this morning. But we had a little bit of technical difficulties with the first segment. But live from Missouri, Dr. Norman Shealy. Dr. Shealy, it is so good to hear your voice.
It is great to be back with you, Vince.
I'm not kidding, Dr. Shealy. It is absolutely wonderful hearing your voice. I got to tell you, I'm jealous. I was driving down your driveway a couple days ago, and I was looking at the grass. Wow, your grass is like 18 inches tall. It looks magnificent. Absolutely. The best grass I've ever seen anywhere. Quite impressive, Dr. Shealy.
Well, that's 35 years of real farming.
Mm-hmm. I mean, wow! It's a good thing our cows don't know about it because they'd be over at your place. Dr. Shealy, we've got the call board lit up. I'm going to go in order that the calls came in. So, holding the longest, Clara, New Jersey. Welcome. You're on with Dr. Norm Shealy, medical doctor.
Good morning, Clara.
My call. Good morning, Dr. Shealy. So good of you to take my call. First of all, the sound is much better after the commercial, after the break. Just want you to know that we can hear it a lot better, your voices. So I actually talked into the phone when there was no opportunity for you to hear me saying, talk louder, talk louder. Well, good morning. I'd like to ask you about this, the coronary, just to go over it again, because as I said, I wasn't able to pick up all your words. Is it possible you could just tell me at home, I go for a carotid, I go for, what was that? A CAT scan of the heart would be enough to know if I need to have the treatment that you're offering.
Yes.
Is that what you require?
That's right, a CAT scan, a CT.
The CAT scan.
In Springfield, it now costs $172.
Well, I wondered, this has led me to want to ask you, I just received in the mail, which like every year you get it, there's kind of a truck or a bus, some kind of a thing that comes around to different churches and schools, and they seem to always ask for the senior citizens to come to these screenings, and they'll include these things to find out, let's say that maybe the carotid, maybe abdominal, what is that, artery?
And
they check
the aorta, yeah.
Yeah.
What they're doing, I think, is an ultrasound.
They do about 5 different tests.
Okay, well, I don't know then what they're... The only one that can tell you whether there's good, calcium in your coronary arteries is a CAT scan.
Okay, that's the one. Okay. And I could always ask the doctor to put that through, and hopefully Medicare will cover it, and that'll be great.
Great.
I wanted to ask you, are we allowed to ask a question about something else that you've talked about?
Sure.
Now, okay, in neuropathy, you had spoken about a machine, and I think I looked it up, and it's about $800. Is there a trial? Is it something that you could tell from the beginning if it's going to work for you, or is it over a period of time that you put it by the feet. I think it's an electronic.
Yes, pulse electromagnetic field therapy, PEMF. Almost everyone who's going to get a benefit will do so within a week or two.
So it's electronic?
Pulse electromagnetic field therapy.
Okay. Now,
Claire, do you need further clarification? Claire, do you need further clarification? Do you want to hold?
Yes, in the.
Do you need further clarification? Okay, hold this thought. We're going to go into a commercial break. We'll be right back, and stay with us. And then George and Werner, you're up next. We'll be right back with Claire. Dr. Norm Shealy is with us. Claire in New Jersey, you had some questions about the pulsed electromagnetic frequency therapy with Dr. Shealy. Please continue. We've got the calls lined up on the call screen, so please continue quickly.
Quickly, I would like to ask you, Doctor, with this machine, is there any rental? I mean, I don't mean to be silly, but I just wondered, is this going to be a lifetime necessity, or is there actually going to be a cure? So that's why I'm thinking in terms.
If you've got significant neuropathy, it is going to take 3 to 6 months to do its maximum benefit. And we do sell it for $100 a month for the first month. And you can return it after that if it hasn't worked.
Wow. I'm in. I'm going to save you time right now. And will you be on the radio next week as well?
I will.
Oh, wonderful. God bless you. Thank you so much for your help. I'll let other people have your knowledge now, and I'll be listening.
Claire, thank you so much for calling in. George in New Hampshire. Welcome, George.
Hi. Hello, Dr. Shealy. Hello, Ben.
Howdy.
You're sounding a little stronger each day. I guess Dr. Shealy's care and the bliss is doing its job, huh?
You got it.
Absolutely. Right. Dr. Shealy's taking care of me.
Vincent, I don't know. Dr. Shealy, did Vincent discuss with you? I have a question. I'll just ask you, and if it's something that you don't feel is appropriate for the radio, it has to do with how long can a human heart, say under laboratory conditions, be maintained to live outside of the human body?
Well, I don't know about the human heart. You know, in zoology, we used to isolate the frog heart and keep it in a saline solution. And, you know, it could last for sometimes a couple of days.
All right. Vincent, is it all right if I don't know if
please do. But okay. No, George, I have not. Dr. Shealy and I have been missing each other. But this is a wonderful question, Dr. Shealy. George asked me this question off the air, and I said we could talk about this on the air. And I'm so glad you called in, George. Please. And George is an instructor, USA Prepares instructor, just joined the faculty from New Hampshire. So, George, please, ask the question. It's great.
All right. Dr. Shealy and Vincent, as I told you, about 36 years ago, I learned, because I was in an unusual position where I got to talk to a lot of veterans, especially a lot of World War II veterans. And I met a man one time who had been one of the first men to liberate a concentration camp in Dachau, Germany. And I've scoured records, and there's no reference. I believe they've been pretty much cleansed of a lot of information that might be considered very controversial. But I'd like to reveal it on the show, what I learned. And the man came out with it out of the blue. And he happened to, as veterans would do when something would just trigger something. And they'd reveal something that they kept inside, and they really wouldn't discuss. You'd be lucky to get maybe a few sentences in 10 years. Well, this man told me that there was a medical museum within the confines of the Dachau concentration camp. And in that museum, there was, in a glass case, there was a beating human heart that had been there for some time from what he was able to gather, and that there were these vials of liquids with the tendrils coming down nerve endings, whatnot. I forgive me for not knowing all the anatomical correct, things, but it was beating, and it was on display in Dachau in 1945. Now, it had been there for some time. From what he could ascertain, it wasn't there for days, it wasn't there for weeks. It was there for probably going on a year. Now, what would that tell you, Dr. Shealy, if such a story was true?
Get adequate nutrition, the heart could keep going quite a long time. I mean, it is an electrical machine, if you will, and I think anything is possible in this odd world that we lived in. One of my neurosurgical colleagues back in the early 60s demonstrated that you could actually transfer the brain out of a monkey into the belly of the monkey, and it would keep functioning. So I think it's possible. I don't know electronically how to do it, but I'm sure that an engineer with a cardiologist could figure it out.
I'm just saying, Dr. Shealy and Ben, is that I think this is beyond even known technology today in medical science. In other words, you have a vast experience base, Dr. Shealy, and not only from what you've known in your lifetime, but people that you know and met and respected that shared with you their findings of dedicating their lives to medicine and science and things like that. But have you ever heard of such a thing?
I have not. But I suspect that there's thousands of important bits of information like that have not been publicly acknowledged.
Right, but it just shows in that one microcosm just how much things may be lost or just misplaced or even hidden purposely.
Well, I mean, look at the basics of Tesla, the great physicist. Tesla demonstrated beyond any doubt whatsoever that he could produce energy out of nothing. But, of course, the great establishment did everything in their power to keep it from getting known.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And his works have disappeared.
Yeah.
Yes. They rifled
the government. Our government vacuumed up most of his published information. It's not available.
Well, now, Ben, you just proved my basic philosophy. All government is evil. Some is more so.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. I'm still waiting for my apology from the state of Missouri for attacking our family, and so I'm going to demand an apology. But you're right. I'm not happy with them. And that was, later on in this broadcast, I've got some questions about what does it take to be a government employee who is willing to just beat up people. I mean, how does that happen? What kind of a mindset do we have to have? Maybe we can do that in hour number 2. George, anything else? This is fascinating. What you're saying is, I believe, if I'm reading between the lines, George, what you're saying is that we have had medical knowledge. We have had medical experiments, whether they be good or evil, wrong or right, but they've happened. And where is that information? Have we lost it? Have we repressed it? Have we not acted on it? Or maybe it's just available for a few, not the rest of us.
Well, the pharmacomafia controls medicine today with the help of the government.
And the protection of the government, right?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
So they can make huge mistakes, like Gardasil, right?
Right.
Gardasil can be, we can be told that, get your daughter needs this. Your daughter needs this. And then all of a sudden we have cancers in young women. And then the pharmacomafia is protected from the suits that should be unleashed as a result of all this.
Yep.
You could even...
The government is the major mafia.
Well, I'd even liken them to a cancer.
Oh,
because you notice cancer goes after healthy cells. And something like Gardasil will be promoted long beyond its, really effectiveness. That's not even the right word. But then you'll have things that people will discover something that's so promising and actually shows dramatic results in positive directions. And they'll be shut down, they'll be hounded, they'll be attacked, right?
Yep. All through. Been going on for a couple of centuries in this country, at least.
May I ask you one other question, Dr. Shealy, and then I'll get off because I know Vernon's waiting. I'll just ask is that as far as like blood pressure, I was told by a respected orthopedic doctor, you might have known him, Dr. Stan Monteith, and he was on GNC for a long time, and he said something about for every decade you live past the age of 30, your blood pressure naturally goes up, so that it's not the such a dire fright as it might be. Have you found that to be true, Doctor?
Well, yes and no. There's just no question that yes, it does happen that the average person does increase blood pressure, especially after age 50. On the other hand, the higher it goes, the greater your risk of a heart attack or a stroke. So, if you take two 80-year-olds, one who still has 120 over 80 versus one who has 150 over 90, the 150 over 90 is more likely to have a heart attack or a stroke.
Is there variables during the course of a day?
I'm sorry?
In other words, can somebody who has, say, 120 over 80, during the course of the day, just as normal events or depending on stresses of the day, that it can spike and be somewhat within, say, a range of maybe...
spike is not usually a problem.
Okay.
Almost everybody has some, under stress, the blood pressure will go up. But if it's up consistently, hour after day, you are at greater risk of having trouble. And something natural like nitro extreme, to me, is the true antidote for most people.
Okay. All right. No, like I said, I see it. Well, listen, I'll get off, but it was a pleasure talking to both of you gentlemen, and I used the term loosely. I'm just kidding. I'm sorry. All right. Thank you, gentlemen. Take care.
Class, I'm delighted, absolutely delighted to be broadcasting live with Dr. Norman Shealy, medical doctor. And Lou in Missouri, you're on the air. Welcome. Werner, you're up next.
Yep.
Lou in Missouri, you're on with Dr. Norm Shealy.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Morning, guys.
Hey.
Dr. Shealy, it was wonderful to hear your voice. Am I on?
Lou,
yeah.
Lou, you're on. Dr. Shealy was talking about you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's wonderful to hear your voice, Dr. Shealy.
Well, thank you. Great to be with you.
Yeah. Hey, can I call you at the regular number later today?
Absolutely.
Okay,
I've got a phone call, I know, at noon for an hour of my time, but other than that, I'm free.
Okay, well, I got a doctor's appointment. I'll be going for a few hours, so I'll catch you later this afternoon. Great, good to hear it. And, man, it's just good to hear you guys back together.
We've had challenges, and we're pretty much worked through them. There's a little bit more to go, but yeah, we're delighted to be here. Lou Cassidy, USA Preparedness instructor, joining us from Missouri. And Lou, you're the gentleman who's been to the expos. You're the gentleman who was telling me all about Dr. Shealy's reaction to the PEMF device that you made, you engineered, and you worked on the frequencies. And so he's been talking about that this morning and during a rebroadcast for part of yesterday. So congratulations. And do you want to share a little bit about that on the air in the next couple of minutes, or is that something you'd like to do later?
Well, it's just something we've been working on, and what you were speaking of that, like you said, we probably can't say that on the air, what it did. But anyway, yeah, we're actively working on this device and three others. So
yeah,
we're going to town.
We've got a whole assembly line going.
Yep, sure
That's
do.
fabulous. So when will we be able to get the latest models that you're making?
Dr. Shealy has it now.
Yeah, the PIP. We have the final at this moment, version of the PEMF device, and it cost $800, and I bought one several years ago for $18,000, which I sold for $8,000 to get rid of it. It was not 10% as good as Lou's.
I remember, Lou Cassidy, you and calling me over to the booth with Norm Shealy at the Get Prepared Expo in Lebanon, Missouri, and you were telling me about the results. And Dr. Shealy was grinning from ear to ear because he saw the results of the device instantly. So
now,
I'm delighted
hey, Vince, you want to tell him what happened?
No.
I'd like to hear Dr. Shealy's words.
Dr. Shealy, I tell you what. I'm going to leave that completely up to you. I have been avoiding this topic
for 2 years.
But it's up to you.
Well, it's such the opposite problem is so common in men. I mean, there I am sitting there with 1,000 people wandering around the building, and I have a booth, and Lou comes up and brings me this advice, and so I'm sitting down, and I put my legs through it, and I'm just sitting there, and within 5 minutes, I said, Lou, I have an erection. I've got to take it off. I can't stand up. Now, and that's what it does. It increases circulation more than anything else. Now, there are other benefits, of course, that we can't even measure all the time. Every cell in your body is electrical. And but it's even better than Nitro Extreme for the morning woody. And I'm not bashful about those things because I think it's important to be realistic.
Dr. Shealy, then, that being the case, that being your experience, are you suggesting that maybe this is an alternative to a blue pill or a pink pill or whatever color they come in
Yes,
to remedy
indeed I am. It's a lot
There you
safer.
go. There you go, guys. There you go. All right. Lou, is there anything else that you'd want to share with us?
No, that's it. I'll let you get on to the other callers. Thank you, Vince.
Lou Cassidy. Lou Cassidy, thank you so much. What a wonderful family we have, Dr. Shealy. Lou Cassidy, Norm Shealy, Werner Bach, and the list goes on and on and on. We'll be right back after top of the hour news and commercial announcements. You're hearing this live, unrehearsed, through the storms. We'll be right back. Everyone all set? Cocked, locked. Hour number 2 of USAPrepares.com. Dr. Norman Shealy live with us. Werner Bach in Canada, New Brunswick, Canada. Welcome, Werner.
Yeah, good morning, Vincent, and good morning to your guest, Dr. Shealy.
Hey, great to be with you.
Yeah, and you brought up a few points, and I did not know that you had a farming background too.
Oh, yeah.
Let me tell you.
So when I was a senior in high school,
Go ahead.
I scored equally on being a physician or a farmer, so I wound up being both.
Yeah, and that gave you quite an overview, and it had you well grounded, that you didn't buy everything lock, stock, and barrel that came from the so-called medical establishment.
Well, when I first got into farming actively in 1969, we consulted with the county agent, and I got to tell you, that was about the greatest waste of an hour I've ever had in my life. It's another government organization that I consider beyond useless.
Basically, what I've seen over the years, the most dangerous cancer that has inflicted humanity is bureaucracy and government, and big government.
Yep, absolutely.
And as I say, I got quite a wake-up call over the years when I was looking for answers by the so-called experts, and all they were giving me was BS, and that BS wasn't even good enough to fertilize the ground.
And the experts are largely responsible for the greatest chemical poison in the face of the earth, glyphosate or Roundup. And the universities support that crap.
I brought that to the attention of Vincent, and next week he wants, or by the end of the week, he wants to have Tony Mitra as a guest there. He laid it down statistically about the contamination of the food supply. But then I came across on the internet that the Canadian Food Inspection Agency, they published and they said it is not the levels of the contamination with glyphosate and all those chemicals, those carcinogen chemicals, it's not at a dangerous level. But who determines which are the dangerous levels? They completely ignore the research that has been done by Dr. Ahmad Pusztai in Scotland years back, and that basically got swept underneath the carpet, where in laboratory tests they did long-term research in feeding GMO, in that case the GMO potatoes, to laboratory rats, and 1/3 of the rats, they didn't even reach maturity. They died before that, and they all had cancers. And after the third generation, they could not produce any more offspring. They were sterile. And I was...
Interestingly, that reminds me of a slide that was shown over 40 years ago. Rats fed the cardboard box did better than those fed the cornflakes inside.
Makes you wonder.
Wow.
Maybe the rats knew already before all the laboratory tests were being done what is healthy for the...
Right.
And this is something what I've seen, I noticed this year, here in New Brunswick. The government has been pushing now for decades the big mega farms, the big dairy farms, and one of their main crops is GM corn, GM alfalfa. And this spring, by the end of the winter, we noticed we did not see any deer on those farms, but we saw some deer on the fields that were grown hay or pasture. So the animals must know more than what the experts know. And
that's not surprising.
And in regard to pushing that GM corn, a friend of ours, he was working at the dairy farm, but that dairy farmer, he tries to go back to the tries to produce the milk and feed the cattle without GM-modified crops, GM-modified corn. And he had the test plot where he got the first prize for his corn, and the corn was traditionally grown corn, and it was over 10 feet tall. In all those GM-modified cornfields, I haven't seen any corn that was 10 feet tall. If it comes high, it's maybe 6 feet tall. So there is a myth about the GM crops producing, yielding higher yields than the traditionally grown crops. But all this GM racket has been made necessary, or the farmers have been brainwashed, that it is necessary in order to combat infestation of weeds. And this is what I've been documenting now for many years, for over 40 years, the deliberate introduction of invasive weed species in farmland to push the farmer into the chemical agenda. And follow the money. Who is benefiting from it? Pension funds of the government employees, including the so-called scientists who basically publish all their scientific accomplishments,
Oh, yeah. Well, the only way I can look at it is it's their karma, and it may not catch up with them in this life, but at some point, these evil people who do these things will pay the price in a future life.
No, it's not just in the future life. The way...
Well, I'd like cash. I like the concept of cash karma, paying for it in this life, but I don't know how. It would be like the Nuremberg trial.
10-4.
Not necessarily. They have done those so-called experts and those so-called wise men. They want to rearrange the whole creation, and but there are enough monkey wrenches in there that get thrown in for them. And sooner or later, this whole system is going to break down. The environmental system, the monetary system, the social system, everything is going to break down. And what the ones that stand in the background and orchestrate this all, their logo is order out of chaos. At first, they want to create chaos, and then they want to create their new world order. And the new world order, this is where the so-called Christian, many of the Christian churches come in. They have been misleading the people. They were waiting for the rapture and everything, and the kingdom of what the Lord will establish on earth. But the next kingdom kingdom that will be established on this earth is the kingdom of the Antichrist. Basically, a lot of the churches, they are preaching the devil's doctrine.
Dr. Shealy, I've got a comment. You mentioned there's more nutrition in the box for, what was it, the mice to eat than the cornflakes. My mom called General Mills many, many decades ago.
Right.
And picked up the phone and said she was reading the ingredients, BHA, BHT, known carcinogens, in the cornflakes. And so she called him and also asked, what's this about trisodium phosphate, TSP? And she said, I use that to refinish furniture. I'll take an old Civil War chair and put it in the basement sink, and I'll soak it for about a week, and it'll strip the paint right off it, trisodium phosphate. And we still have those Civil War chairs here at the farm today. What I'm saying is she called them and they said, well, the trisodium phosphate is a bleach. And she said, well, what color would it be? What color would these cornflakes be if you didn't bleach them? Because they're not appetizing to begin with. And so they really didn't have any answers. But what they did, Dr. Shealy and Werner, is they took the BHA and the BHT out of the cornflakes and they put it in the packaging. So now maybe, just maybe, the box is a little less nutritious for the mice and rats than it used to be.
That doesn't surprise you. Look, we're talking about the evil empire. And I've often thought that George Lucas' entire movie series was an allegory of what goes on in the world. The evil empire is government and the things behind the government.
It's so difficult, Dr. Shealy. The government, the state of Missouri declared war on our family. I haven't really talked too much about it. But they decided they were going to come after us for $100,000 in unpaid sales tax. And I'm saying unpaid, not that they should have gotten it. There's no reason to even pay it. We cited the statute that says there's no sales tax due on out-of-state sales from Missouri. So if a person sets up an internet business and has a small business and sells some things outside the state has no jurisdiction, no right, no claim on sales tax to be collected for out-of-state purchases to other states. That's all there is to it. There is no claim. So the state says, well, had you filed, we wouldn't have this problem. And we said, oh, you're confused. We did file. And we did pay sales tax in the state of Missouri, but not on out-of-state sales because there is no claim to that. There is no authority. There's no jurisdiction. And you know that they would not back down until I met with them and face-to-face. And I said, 10 minutes of your time is all it's going to take, but we're going to get this done. And they backed down. They literally backed down. They said, you're right. You're absolutely right. You're right. And here's what they're doing, Dr. Shealy. Government is so evil. They get these little minions to these clerks, and they say, look, I know you got nothing to do, and you're just looking at Facebook, and you're reading the news, and you're chatting with your friends, and you're on your cell phone, but it doesn't look good. So go, do something productive. Go find some money to steal from hardworking people. Go look around. Go surf the web, because you're going to surf the web anyway, reading gossip columns. Go figure out where you can go steal some money from people. And they picked on us. They picked on the wrong guys, because we're going to expose those thugs. But what I'm saying, Dr. Shealy, is you're absolutely right. But when people hear that Finelli didn't pay sales tax, they probably think that I did something wrong. Actually, I didn't do anything wrong. They had no right to it. They had no right to it. It's just like someone going into your bank account, Dr. Shealy, and saying, look, I don't know how much you have there, but I want 100,000 of it. It's none of their money.
I often buy online in order to avoid paying sales tax.
Hold that thought. We'll be right back. Dr. Norman Shealy is with us. Werner Bach's with us. Dr. Shealy, you mentioned sales tax and the Internet. Did you want to say something else about that?
Well, if I can order something at a price similar to what I could buy at Walmart, and I could get it out of state, I don't have to pay sales tax. And so I do a great deal of shopping that way in order to avoid the stupid sales tax of food, among other things.
You're absolutely right, and that's one of the things that is killing commerce in the villages and in the cities and in the locales where we all seem to live. And that is, it's over 8% here in Missouri. And I remember when sales tax started on the East Coast as a temporary measure, a little shortfall in revenue. We're just going to put in a temporary sales tax, 0.5%. Next year it was like, well, it's working, but we need just another 0.5%. That means it went from 0.5% to 1%, which was double. Then it's climbed over 8% in many places on the East Coast. And you would think that there'd be a revolution because of this. And so I do exactly what you do. Last night, Dr. Shealy and Werner, I'm in this competition with Bruce Kay. He and I are building our solar arrays, and my plan is to use materials, and I needed a MIG welder. I have a wire welder, but I needed a MIG welder. Welder, the kind I wanted, was about $400. I was able to find one half price. A guy on the internet was selling it, and I met him last night, paid him for it, exactly what he wanted, got the gas bottle, everything I need for over $200, but it was well worth it for me, and I did not have to pay the sales tax on it. And that was like the big bonus. The big bonus is I'm not going to pay those thugs sales tax if I can help it. I'm not going to do something illegal against code or statute, but what I am going to do is if I can find it someplace else and buy it used, I'm going to do it just so those guys don't get any more of my money.
As our
Werner, is there anything else that you wanted to share?
On you, mate.
Werner, what else do you have?
Oh, Vincent, this is something that's very pressing. What I spoke to you several weeks ago about Dr. Rebecca Carley. She has been a fighter now for many years. She was one of the first ones to warn about vaccination and the detrimental health effect, and now the lunacy about vaccinating young babies right at their birth, And Dr. Carley, she is help. She is incarcerated in a hospital in Illinois, and they got the plan to put her away for the rest of her life. She has some...
Dr. Rebecca Carley, she was a broadcaster on Republic Broadcasting Network, RBN, yes, John Stadtmiller's network. I have talked to her off the air on the phone a couple months ago, maybe 3 months ago, as you requested that I do. I'm very concerned about her. Dr. Shealy, have you heard of Dr. Rebecca Carley?
I have not. I mean, I know the name, but I don't know the details.
Okay. Werner, what do you recommend that we do?
As I say, where she's been incarcerated, I recognize from talking to her friends that she has a problem with alcohol. But since she has been incarcerated, they can put her on all kinds of medication and create all kinds of symptoms to maximize the damage, that she comes to a point of no return.
Werner, can you get me the information on how I can contact her? I'll see what I can do.
You cannot contact her directly. She's institutionalized. But from the medication she is getting, it does not help her. What I've seen, this so-called healthcare system, they want permanent customers, for the rest of their life. And what you both were mentioning earlier, this government becomes more and more the biggest organized crime syndicate, what we ordinary people count. It's high time that people start waking up and speaking out. And in regard to taxes, I just want to throw in something else here. I live here in New Brunswick. It's got a population
Dr. Shealy, I don't know how this is going to sound gross, but let me do it anyway. So, I don't know, maybe a year ago, my mom ended up in the emergency room, and she's fine. But they fed her, she ended up in the hospital, and they fed her some stuff. And I decided to bring some of it home because I didn't think it was edible. And it was this little tube or this little container of something called Promise. It kind of has the appearance of butter. Well, I stuck it on my desk. And it is. Well, here's what I wanted to share with you. So it was this sealed container, and it came from the hospital. So this is what they serve their patients at Mercy or Merciless in Springfield, Missouri. So I have this little tiny tub. It's about the diameter of a quarter, and it's got a yellow pull top tab on it, and it says Promise. Well, it's been sitting on my desk, buried for a year or more, and I want to tell you that the seal on it broke. But it's okay. The stuff is still in there. No mold. Doesn't look like anything wants to eat this. Nothing from nature is interested in consuming this product. It's shriveling down, and I'm thinking that if it won't be corrosive, I might use it as a lubricant on some nuts and bolts in the garage. Other than that, I can't think of a single reason to use this stuff. What do you think, Dr. Shealy? It's a blend of vegetable.
Poison.
Yeah.
Total poison.
Even bacteria won't go near it.
Exactly. No. Well, I just spent a week and a half in a hospital in Cleveland, and what they call a full liquid diet consists of Jell-O and frozen ice junk. Now, I don't eat Jell-O. It's junk. I don't eat frozen juice junk. And, I mean, no wonder I went 10 days without eating. There wasn't anything to eat.
Dr. Shealy, were there any particular colors involved in this stuff that they were trying to convince you had nutrition? Or
it always
food?
looks good, a bright yellow, orange, that kind of thing.
But are they colors that you find in nature?
No, of course not. They're artificial. Everything in it is artificial. I doubt it's even real gelatin.
Mm-hmm. I still have the cranberry juice cocktail from concentrate container that they served my mom. I got it in my hand, had it in the studio because it says here, first thing, water, sugar, cranberry juice concentrate, natural and artificial flavor, citric acid, sodium benzoate, potassium sorbate as a preservative, ascorbic acid, red food and drug color. Now, why? Why do they have to color cranberry juice? What color would it be if they didn't color it?
Natural.
Yeah. And what's wrong with that? And so I'm looking at this empty container that I poured out, and it's all stained on the inside where the seams are. That's because that's where the color penetrated. And you see these young children, Dr. Shealy, in the supermarkets and the grocery stores, and their parents, their young parents, naive young parents will buy them these lollipops, and they will have blue or green tongues because of the massive amount of food coloring in them. What are these parents thinking? What are they thinking? Don't they think that blue tongue?
They're not thinking.
Right. Where does that blue dye go? Where does that green dye go? And these are not natural colors. These are colors that you just can't find in nature. So I guess that's our warning for the parents. Don't do that. It's maybe not the parents. Grandparents, wake up your children so that they won't poison their children. Dr. Shealy, I was on the phone with Miles in Europe, and we were talking about iodine and Lugol's solution. And we're talking about the concentrations of iodine in Lugol solution. There's the 2%, the 3, the 5, 7, 10, 15. Can you tell us what is Lugol solution? What would we use it for, and how would we take it, and in what concentration should we purchase it?
Well, it is a mixture of potassium iodide and iodine itself, and it's been around for many, many decades. The only problem with Lugol solution is it's kind of messy. If you spill a drop of it, you've destroyed whatever it is, because it is stronger than chlorine in taking away the color of natural cloth, etc. Although it is available, I personally prefer iodoral, Iodoral, with the little tablet, and it's the same concentration of iodine and potassium iodide that is in Lugol solution, and each little tablet is 1.2 milligram, and I prefer to take it that way.
Okay. And well, here's the question now. If someone wants to buy Lugol solution, are you okay with that?
Of course.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And do you like any particular concentration? 2, 3, 5%, 7?
Oh, I'd probably use 5%.
Okay, 5%. And how would one take that in a glass of like a drop in a glass of water? And what would what would we take it for?
Yeah, don't mix it with anything else. Mix it just plain water. and not city water, of course.
Okay. Filtered Berkey or ProPure water or some kind of, or maybe distilled water?
Right.
Okay. And would the benefits be for someone who has a thyroid condition or had thyroid surgery?
Well, 80% of people in this country are deficient in iodine, and so a low-grade thyroid underactivity, up to high grade, of course, but average is a low-grade hypothyroid, underactive thyroid, is extremely common, and a little bit of iodine can help immensely.
And what would the symptoms of that be, someone who has an underactive thyroid?
Well, it can be high blood pressure, high cholesterol, fatigue, loss of energy, trouble with memory. You know, every cell in the body is dependent upon iodine.
Dr. Shealy, you're talking about almost everybody.
You got it. And it is made worse than by chlorination and fluoridation of water, because the poor old thyroid gland cannot distinguish in making triiodorol or a triple iodine attached to the tyrosine molecule. The thyroid can't tell the difference between fluoride and iodine or chlorine, but especially fluoride. And so the blood test, even the laboratory tests, are inaccurate because the laboratory test cannot distinguish between fluoro and iodo tyrosine. And so often the blood tests look normal, but the only real test to tell you whether you have hypothyroidism is a low body temperature. If your oral temperature consistently below 98.6 after you've been out of bed 2 hours or more, you're hypothyroid.
If your oral temperature is below 98.6 after 2 hours getting out of bed?
Yeah.
That means you need iodine?
Underactive thyroid.
Okay, if your oral temperature is less than 98.6 after 2 hours of getting out of bed, then you have an underactive thyroid. Okay.
Exactly.
And then underactive thyroid, take this supplement, iodorol, or Lugol solution, a drop or so in a glass of water?
Exactly.
Is that what you're saying?
Now, if you've been that way for a long time, you could significantly improve the response by using Fire Bliss also, which activates the entire, organizes, if you will, the entire endocrine system.
Fire Bliss. And that's available at normshealy.com, normshealy.com. Dr. Shealy, you recommended something, and I want to share this story. We were on the phone, and you said, Vincent, DHEA, 25 milligrams. I said, okay. So I went to happened to be in Sam's Club, and I have a friend who's a pharmacist there. He's a wonderful man. He takes great care of me. And so I went up to him. By the way, I asked him to be on the air with us as a pharmacist, and he can't do it. They won't let him. But to tell us the do's and don'ts and cautions, and as a pharmacist would, and it would be wonderful, but he can't do it. Not that he doesn't want to. It's just that the company won't let him. But so I said, I'm looking for DHEA. Dr. Shealy recommended. Yet I can't find it. So he got out from behind the counter, and he's walking around the aisles with me, and he was impressed. He's like, wow. So let me look this up. And now normally when he looks something up for me, it only takes him about 10 seconds. He was reading and reading and reading and reading. He printed out this sheet. He was so impressed at the level of care that I was getting from Dr. Norman Shealy that he printed this out, and he said, look at this. Look at it. And he was saying that here's what DHEA does. Now, would you share that with us, Dr. Shealy, why DHEA is important? Or at least in my case.
Yeah, DHEA is dehydroepiandrosterone. It's a mouthful. It is a hormone. In men, the level is 1/3 higher than it is in women because we make it in the testicles as well in the adrenal glands. Women make it only in the adrenal gland. It begins to come into its own, if you will, at puberty. And in the average person, it reaches its peak level in the blood at about age 25. Now, the interesting thing is that by age 30, most people in our society have lost 10% of what they had at age 25. And by the time they're 80 years of age, they've lost 90% of what they had at age 30. So at this moment in time, the free, that is DHEA, not attached to anything but itself, blood level which is only accurate at Nichols Lab in Capistrano, California, by the way, is the best single indication that you have of what I call life reserve. In other words, in men, the level should be 750 to 1,250 nanograms per deciliter. In women, 550 to 980 nanograms per deciliter. I would say 99% of people after age 50 don't have that good. Every known disease is associated with low levels of DHEA. Every known disease.
Let me make sure that we hear that clearly. Every known disease is associated with low levels of DHEA. Let's talk about that more when we come back, because what my pharmacist said was incredible. We'll be right back. Dr. Norman Shealy is with us. Class, if you want to get the same newsletter that I get multiple times per week, normshealy.com, NORMSHEALY.com. Dr. Norman Shealy is a medical doctor, world renowned. As a matter of fact, Dr. Shealy is a national treasure. Actually, I'm off by many magnitudes. He's a intergalactic treasure. I'm very serious. I've said that to him personally. So, Dr. Shealy, I was with the pharmacist, and he printed off this sheet, and he's reading it, and he was like very intent in reading it. And he said, "Wow, Norm Shealy is really, really taking care of you." He said, and he underlined in this this multi-page document that he wanted me to have to read about DHEA, and he said, it's used in the prevention of cancers.
If you've got a low level,
he was,
yeah. If your blood level of DHEA is low, you're a walking epidemic of everything. Now, there under ordinary circumstances, I do not recommend taking it because, as most people know, there are low levels of cancer cells, particularly in the breast, the ovaries, and the prostate gland. And if our immune system is reasonably strong, we don't develop cancer. But if you take DHEA, you upset the balance between cortisone and DHEA. And therefore, anytime you put on prednisone or cortisone, you should take DHEA. Then, after you're off the prednisone or cortisone, you wean it off over a week. Now, there are 4 natural ways of restoring your DHEA to a healthy level, and these are safe. One of those is Fire Bliss. It will raise the average DHEA 60%. Number 2, natural progesterone cream. Although women after menopause routinely don't make progesterone, men make a little bit throughout life. But progesterone is one of the greatest things in the world for your prostate gland, but also helping to make DHEA, raises it another 60%. Number 3, magnesium lotion. Now, the interesting thing about magnesium lotion is it not only raises your intracellular level of magnesium, but it raises your DHEA another 60%. And finally, my youth formula, Dr. Shealy's youth formula, which consists of 2,000 milligrams of vitamin C, 1,000 milligrams of MSM, methylsulfonomethane, 60 microns of molybdenum, and about 3 milligrams of beta-1,3 glucan. That combination also raises your DHEA an average of 60%. So if you take all 4 of those, you can raise your DHEA from its low level, way down below the 750 or 550 that are optimal, and do it naturally and safely. And I strongly recommend that under ordinary circumstances. But when you are put on prednisone or cortisone, you should take DHEA to stop some of the negative effects of the prednisone.
Dr. Shealy, what are some of the negative effects that one would experience with prednisone?
Infections. It weakens your immune system tremendously. Infections, cancer flaring up, bone loss. It markedly speeds up the osteoporosis, osteopenia problem. Just a general, sensitivity and weakness of the whole physical system.
Okay,
now,
so DHEA... Excuse me?
Well, prednisone can be life-saving in certain serious illnesses, but it's not something I would like to be on long-term. it's for an acute illness, and once you get over that, you need to get back to normal.
Sounds wonderful. Dr. Shealy, thank you so much for being with us. And class, if you're interested in the magnesium lotion, normshealy.com, normshealy.com. And if you want the blisses like Fire Bliss, Earth Bliss, Air Bliss, Water Bliss, Crystal Bliss, normshealy.com. We use it here at the farm. You can too. normshealy.com. And please sign up for that newsletter. Dr. Shealy, I'm looking forward to being with you next Wednesday on our regularly scheduled broadcast. Norm Shealy is with us, medical doctor. Thank you so much. Class, above all,
thank you.
Love you, Dr. Shealy. Above all, honesty and integrity. What happens next is up to you.